Hey, so I made CueCam to tie together my iOS apps, Video, Pencil and Shoot, but what if you're not surrounded by the latest Apple devices, and what if you don't have a teleprompter or a Stream Deck or a green screen? Can you still get the benefits of CueCam Presenter? Yes, you can, some. So stay tuned for the shortened intro sequence now. Hello and welcome to Squares TV App Lab number 73, where we talk about Video, Pencil, Shoot and CueCam Presenter. This is a lab on after hours and going out live on YouTube. Put stuff in comments, I will pay attention and, well, I'll lose my thread and then I'll try and answer, or try and wait for a minute to answer. Or if you're on Zoom, I can dial you in, or I could. I think I switched the button. I am Michael Forrest. I make apps and I also now have to do business. So, you know, imagine. But I also am kind of an artist as well, so I do this kind of thing. So yeah, some updates this week. Pat asked for... Yeah, well, there was some issue. Like, I wanted to sort out multi-channel audio interfaces. So this is something that I have finally got to today. So I'm just going to show you what that looked like, because I've just had a pretty annoying couple of days trying to get that working. So this is what I was doing. I've got my sort of audio interface. I'll show you. Like, there's the sort of multi-channel interface here, and I've got a cable coming out of it, and I'm touching it to try and to sort of like just make something just go in on a specific channel, and then we're kind of like having a look at that on the screen and trying to figure out what's going on. You know, when you do on a cable, it's like bzz, bzz. So, but actually most of the time was getting those little audio meters going, because I was like trying to visualize what was happening. So that ended up taking probably 70% of the time, getting these little things going. I literally was, look, I don't care, like I'm showing you this. I actually could tell you, I can tell you what this is. Like, this is, I know what that is. I know what they are. I know what these are. But why did I have to know how the memory was laid out? Anyway, but it just meant that I now have a little debugging tool where I can sort of see like what's coming in, what my sort of submix looks like, what's going on over here. And it means, and this is how the UI looks. So I think this video is, why is this video zoomed in? And do I have any options for myself to make it zoomed out? Apparently I don't. Oh, man, it's always something. Well, I'll just show you on the thing, because we have a brand spanking new demo mode. So if I share the live camera, go into demo mode. So and get rid of the slide. So if we have a look, what are you seeing? Right, here's demo mode. And under here now, there's basically you're not going to get all this stuff. You're not going to get all the meters. Well, maybe I'll make it prettier and give you that. But basically, I haven't got a multi-channel audio interface. If there's a multi-channel input, you'll have an option to select which inputs. That's it. Continuing on, docs. I've done all the docs. I've actually written all the docs. Are they perfect? Like there's probably still some. I know there's a bit of proofing that probably needs to be done. But if I just show you what that looks like, so these are the docs. We've got all these different sections: installation, setup, live camera, building presentations. You can sort of jump to those by clicking here. You can sort of click it on the page. Okay, how to use the live camera. You can get that in one page. You can open these up, or you can sort of look at everything from here, and also you can see sort of what level the stuff is. So some stuff like how to sort of do some, how to add a LUT to your camera might be a bit more of an advanced topic. Not necessarily advanced in terms of how difficult it is to do, more in terms of like, is this something you need to be able to do as a beginner or not? And if it's something you probably as a beginner, you don't really, Mimo Live, not necessarily something you're going to do when you first start out with CueCam. But, you know, stuff like, you know, what's a card, what is a slide. So all these docs are in here. So I guess that what that means is that I am kind of ready for a bit of feedback if you've got it. But yeah, it's just been a big job to sort of make sure that we've got documentation on everything, at least written. And my next job is probably sort of start doing videos for all of these in multiple formats. So yeah, docs. But it was a big relief to kind of like tick off the last one of those from that massive list. That's taken me weeks and weeks, just chipping away at it every day. Some other stuff. So a little feature that you might not notice. It used to be that so let's can I share? Should I share my desktop? Yeah, let's share the desktop. So here's let's do it in demo mode. So on your desktop, if you've got more than one document open, it was the case in the past that you'd see there'd still be a lot of brightness, but like have a look at this. So now you see all these all this stuff here is pink, and on here it's dimmed out properly. And when I switch to this window, like now all the stuff in this window is dimmed out properly. So actually kind of getting all that, it's just a sort of quality of life thing, sort of making it a bit more obvious which window has foreground focus. And this is something that if I was using Mac native stuff, it would just happen automatically, but because I've got quite a lot of stuff going on, just making sure that that's all sort of behaving. That was something that I did this week. I have an update is like in the process of doing that. I keep seeing people using CueCam in light mode and going, don't use it in light mode. Like turn your Mac to dark mode. And the reason for this is like as soon as you use a light mode app, it's like it's illuminating your face the whole time. And you can tell my Gmail's open at the moment because like my lighting is different. So I sort of need to sort of get rid of that window to just sort of get my lighting back under control. So I really don't recommend CueCam in light mode because, and also I don't really look at it, so sometimes some bugs can creep in. Like you can't read some text. So what I'm actually going to do is force dark mode, or at least make it like opt out. I'm sorry, I'm seeing like some crackling over there with the green screen, and I don't like it. There, oh, is that better or worse? That's better. Who knows? Yeah, so dark mode, just one of those things. Another thing, demo mode. So I went on Neil's stream last week, and that was speaking of. Let me just see if I got my chat window. Yeah, okay. I was on Neil Farriman's stream last week, but something I did notice that was. Demoing was a real pain, so I just knuckled down and sorted that out. So now I've got my entire render pipeline that puts the slides together and sort of does the desktop share and does the side 3D and kind of creates this whole pipeline. And now I render that another one, which is just for demo mode, which just all it does is it doesn't. If there's like a screen share, it just excludes the CueCam windows, so you don't get that tunnel effect. And that's really all it does now. I have sorted out Mimo Live support, so I wrote the Mimo Live document, which meant okay, let's get this working properly. So now if Mimo's running, you can select just in one drop down. You can add it the same way as everything else. Select the document, select the layer set, and it will just sort of do that. And as we see from Pat on Discord right now, and I had a chat with someone else on Friday who'd got CueCam. Some issues like there's a file permission thing where when you try and do a recording, it sometimes doesn't. For some reason, you don't have permissions, and it's really quite hard for me to test because I guess at some point it sort of obtained file system permissions, and it's hard to sort of like know how to revert that now. No, actually, I think I do know. Now I say it out loud, but it does mean that like if you just before you do any serious recordings, just make sure it's working. But I don't even throw an error, so now I'm going to at least throw an error so I can sort of have some hope of figuring out what's going on there. But yeah, sorry if you've encountered that. It's a silly one, but it could be sort of quite upsetting. But yeah, coming on to today's content. Today's live show, now that we've done the updates, I was talking to my dad yesterday and finally got him to install CueCam, which meant he had to update his Mac to Sonoma, which it wasn't before. I was like, yeah, because that's why there's that can I support Ventura issue. Speaking of my dad, he was in the paper this week. I'll show you. Maybe have I got it to hand? Is this a bit of a detail? There's this little supplement. So if you well, it's too late to get it now, but in the Observer in the UK, it's my paleontologist dad in the paper. There he is. A sort of article about him being a fossil hunter, and there's like they're making a film about him as well, like a little art film. So yeah, that's my dad in his little workshop at home. So yeah, I was talking to him because he's sort of planning on doing more remote presentations about this kind of thing, but he doesn't really have the he's got an iPhone 5, a really old iPad. He's not sort of like buying all the latest and greatest Apple products, so it does mean that he was. I had to sort of think, okay, how do you use this? Because the whole genesis of this app is like make it easier to use Video Pencil, make it easier to use Shoot without having to kind of set up a load of other stuff and understand NDI and understand this and that and the other. Just kind of gives you that virtual cam. But like if you don't have Shoot, you don't have Video Pencil, like is it still useful? So that's what I wanted to just take you through a few things that you can do without all that extra stuff. So let's have a look. So things you can do. It's not really going to be very illustrated. Well, maybe it can be. So maybe I'll go into demo mode for this stuff. So if I go into demo mode for the live camera, let's do that, shall we? So this is what you get to start with CueCam. You get this sort of live camera window. So what this? Oh, why have I gone choppy? This is a demo mode thing. I hope I'm not like firing up a whole new rendering pipeline every single time. I am tempted to come back out. All right, hold on a sec. Okay, so let's see if this will now give you a decent demo mode stream. Well, let's get back to where we were. Am I just going to have to tell you? I don't want to just tell you. I want to show you. A screen share permission's gone weird. Okay. This is sometimes you get some stuff with when you're developing an app where running it from one place gives it a different environment to running it normally, so I get extra bugs that you wouldn't ever see because you're not the developer. So I'm just trying to I want to show you my brand spanking new demo mode, man. Okay, right, there we go. Poof. Full screen on that. Okay, so we're in demo mode, right? So one of the first things that, and let me just make sure I've got my presentation running still. Docs, stuff, Mac only, CueCam. So one of the first things that's useful is, like, obviously you can use the virtual camera anywhere, but what it means is if you've got a picture you just want to show, like, think how would you share a picture normally on your webcam? Like, you'd have to share your screen. And so just the fact you can kind of like grab a picture or a video. Let's grab this. Right, I'm just going to drag on an image and that's there. Most exciting image you've ever seen. That's some hex codes. And sort of like you can get out the way and you can come back and you can get out the way and you can come back. Right, so try figuring that out. Like, and the same, like you can throw a video in. So I could just drop a video in. Here is me troubleshooting some stuff earlier, and we've got sound, right? So it's like just quickly share a picture or a video. You don't have to share your screen. You can get out of the way. So yeah, that's something that you can do. The next thing, you know, if you just want to add some text, so we've got this box here. So I can just, if I'm trying to say, like, type in this code, it's like, you know, it's wget/l/thing, right? Sometimes it's really hard to get across what you're trying to do, but now you've just got this box here that you can just type something into. And that, you know, again, you don't have to send them over to chat. You don't have to sort of do all this other stuff. You can just sort of stick it there. You can share your screen without having to ask permission without having to ask permission, or without having to like restart your meeting software. So, you know, have you ever sort of like, you know, someone's, you know, I have this quite a lot with people I meet with. My Calendly creates Google Meet appointments, and often it's the first time someone's used Google Meet, and so they had to sort of, if they want to share their screen, they have to sort of quit out of Chrome after they've given it permissions and come back. With this, like, I only have to give CueCam share screen permissions, and then like all the other apps can just use that, right? All the other apps are just using the virtual camera, so you're not going to be sort of caught out for the screen sharing, because you can just, you know, casually do it. And then also, like, if you are sharing, so I'll just share, okay, look, there's a thing there. If I can this is, if you just mouse wheel on here, you can actually like zoom in and pan around and sort of like really focus in on the thing that you're trying to share. So I want to show you, like, you know, this GitHub window. I can just sort of like mouse wheel over the virtual camera, and I'll be able to, I can sort of zoom in and out of that with the mouse wheel. And you can do it from the iPad as well, but like, yeah, this is what we're doing here. And so, yeah, like, as you can see, like, anytime I am sharing something, I can just sort of come full screen again, or if I'm reading something that you've done, I'm sort of looking through it, like, you can see that I'm looking at something. We can use the aside 3D thing, and like, you can be in and out. And don't forget, like, when you're in another application, we've got this control up at the top, which gives you, you know, the button here, so I can sort of toggle aside 3D from the menu. I can sort of get rid of the share. I can sort of switch to a different camera. I can, like, you know, share whatever I'm going to share just from up there, my mic, or, you know, whatever it's going to be. So I think that's just another thing that there's literally no other way to do it. And you can still run your presentations. So I sort of want to, so let me just sort of show you how you do that. So here's a CueCam document. So let's just like put together a presentation from, like, I don't know, 3 random templates. So you've got your presentation. This is what I want to say first, right? So you've got your presentation here, and you've got your big pink button, that when you press it, it's gonna run it and send it to your virtual camera. So when I press start here, it's going to sort of put the virtual camera up, and now you're seeing the presentation. And I've just got my big pink button, which I can get to either from CueCam here, or if I'm somewhere else, I can like go through it from up here. It's giving you all that picture-in-picture stuff, and it's also, it's got your, well, it's not now because I've got my teleprompter, but if I close my teleprompter, like, you're going to see, okay, so I've got my speaker notes sort of appearing in here, which is fine. It's sort of close-ish to the webcam if you're just on a MacBook screen. But you don't forget, you can sort of fire up the teleprompter window and like make that big, and then that's going to be a bit less distracting maybe. Like, you could even put the notes up at the top so you're kind of nearer the camera, the laptop camera, and then you just sort of have the big button and you can be talking away and sort of stepping through it and kind of like showing what you're going to show. So yeah, you could still use the teleprompter window even without a hardware teleprompter. So going back to my thing, so yeah, the notes are going to be there, your picture, yeah, the picture-in-picture stuff, again, like, you can sort of, I guess, like, Mac OS does have this screen sharing stuff that you could do a bit of like picture-in-picture, but I think you get a lot more control, and well, you get a different kind of control in CueCam. It's a different sort of thing, and it's more aware of what you're actually doing. Let me just put that teleprompter back where it belongs so that I'm not looking down. So yeah, And as I say, you've got the status bar menu that lets you sort of navigate. And so what do you have here? You still get this whole dashboard. So you get the ability to record, you get the ability to move through your presentation. You've got you can sort of see your levels. You can go into your mic and stuff. You can add the text. You can sort of do stuff to your camera if you want. Like you can, I mean, if you had a green screen, but like I think we're talking about if you don't have a load of stuff, this is what you can do. And what else? If we press next, we're going to see that, or you can, have I just dragged my teleprompter somewhere weird? I think my teleprompter is too high. Yeah, there's a thing I need to do with that. Full screen. Right. We're back in business. So another thing is like if you did want to run a PowerPoint deck, so if you didn't want to have to sort of, because like I think CueCam's really made for a teleprompter, and so that you can make eye contact and keep talking and do the thing. But if you're just sort of, if you've already got a deck, PowerPoint deck or something, and you don't want to have to like rebuild it for CueCam, which is going to be diminishing returns if you're not sort of quite kind of like, if you're not sort of focused on the presentation as what you're going to say rather than the presentation as a sequence of slides that you're going to talk through, which I see as an older paradigm. I see this sort of like, I just want to say this stuff to camera and I'm going to sprinkle in some content. But say you do have a deck, you can, you can just share the PowerPoint presentation window or the Keynote window in CueCam. You'll be picture in picture. You can sort of navigate through it in Keynote and you'll still get like a pretty good experience for your audience. And even if you wanted to use like the video features of Keynote, you could just stick your camera in there, hide your camera in CueCam. Now you've still got like the screen capture is giving you the virtual camera, but also what was I going to say? You can use the delay calculator to make sure that your audio isn't going to be out of sync. So the delay calculator being on a mic, if I click calculate delay, it's going to say clap and keep your hands together. And then it's going to give you, is this going to work? Okay, yeah. So then you're going to see, I shouldn't talk while I'm doing it. Well, you see I'm in sync. So you have to click where you clapped. And then you have to sort of like find the point in the video where your hands joined, but because my audio is perfectly in sync, that is synced. And then you can just save that delay. So that's like just another little useful thing in CueCam. You can just make sure that your audio is in sync. Or you can also like export your slides to CueCam, which I did think I might show you. So to do that, I shall come out of demo mode. I shall share my desktop. I shall bring my example project up and just go back to the editor preview. And I shall go to Keynote, which I probably should have launched before I started this. How is everyone? I see Hasmuk on Zoom. Hello, how are you? I see a couple of others. Right, so if we grab Keynote, so if I'm to sort of like, I've got this Ivy promo deck still. So if I were to just go File, Export to Images, I can just export a sequence of images. I'm not going to have, well, maybe I'll have transparent let's not have transparent backgrounds. Well, let's have transparent backgrounds. Save. I'll just stick them on my desktop. So now those are on my desktop somewhere. Here it is. So I've got the images on my desktop. If I just double click on that folder, I can grab all of those, find my deck, drag those to the end, and now I've got my whole deck in there. So I can just go play and like introducing the thing and introducing the thing. Look at this, we're running through a presentation and it's all in CueCam. And so now you're back, now you can do a side 3D, you can be picture in picture, you can sort of do all this different stuff that you might not be able to do otherwise. So that's another option that I just wanted to make sure I'd shared with you. Finding my script window again. Where is it? Don't you just love center stage? Like, it's so easy to lose a window. I'm just going to go like recent file recent 73. Okay. And you can also, if you're live streaming, you can simplify your live streaming as well. So if you're, David, that's who else was here. Hello. you can also, I'm going to talk about OBS because we talk about Ecamm a lot here, but I think it's quite interesting to, I did the OBS docs. So I wanted to talk about, so what the trade-off of CueCam versus OBS is. Like, OBS lets you create complex scenes, lots of layers, lots of different things. Same with Ecamm, same with Mimo Live. But if you are sort of content-driven like me and you just want to step through a presentation, you want to do what I'm doing right now, like, and you don't want to have to do all that configuration, then it's really useful to just use CueCam as a virtual camera for OBS, and then you can do a live stream with that. So what I'll show you now is like how to run through an OBS presentation with CueCam. So let's have a look. Let's see if this doc came through. So basically, the simplest way to use CueCam with OBS is to select CueCam's virtual camera as a video capture device in OBS. So here is what that involves. So you're going to go down to the little plus button. You're going to add a video capture device. You're going to give that a name. I love how many steps everything is in OBS. Like, it's so many steps. You're going to select CueCam in that drop down as the device. And here we can see that's coming through. And this brings through the virtual camera. And now everything that you're seeing I can do is going to be coming through to OBS, and you can just do that. And then you also want to select CueCam audio as an input. And I think since you're using CueCam, I think it's better to do audio as a mic input per scene. I used to sort of set my main input in OBS as the input, but I actually find it useful to have audio on or off per scene for a lot of situations from the mic. So actually, I'm going to show you how to add that just as a scene, as a thing in the scene. So you can go to the scene, add an audio input device, input capture. Again, you have to give it a name, so give it something that makes sense. Select CueCam audio from that drop down, and there we go. So this is our basic live streaming setup with OBS. So that's actually all, and then you just got to sort of set up the output settings and all that stuff. But that's something you can find info about on the internet. I would say 3,000, 4,000. What is it? I don't know what the unit is. kbps. Is probably what you're aiming for, and like make sure it's doing hardware encoding, this and that and the other. But we won't get into that now. But leave the audio at like maxed, because you want to get the benefits of the LUFS metering from CueCam. So you just want CueCam to be in charge of telling you if you're too loud and stuff, and giving you that green thing. Because if you pull that down, you're going to get this sort of, I think, comparatively pretty useless style of meter, which is really hard to judge, like, if you're actually okay, really. Whereas CueCam gives you LUFS metering, which, like, when it's green, you can be pretty sure you're coming in at a good level consistently. So then that gives you automatic video pencil and shoot integration, so you can draw on anything. If you have got an iPad, we're not talking about that today. It does give you all of the live and the card-based sharing stuff, like slides, images, videos, windows, second capture, all that kind of stuff. Gives you the aside 3D stuff now, camera LUT you can do in CueCam, green screen stuff you can do in CueCam. Just don't wave your arms, don't put too much motion blur. I should maybe increase my shutter speed. Increase the speed. Lower the exposure time, so I get a bit less motion blur for the green screen. And then audio from videos coming through the virtual mic and the screen shares, you can get that, which you can set up individually in OBS. You can even do like a native Mac screen share that uses the same framework I use, but this just lets you sort of do it all in CueCam and then just sequence it out. So yeah, that's what you get, and then you can like maybe add a little bit of extra. You can add an overlay, or you can do some stuff for the live stream to make it look a bit more sort of streamery. But yeah, this is good. But if you want to draw on a video or your screen using Video Pencil, just make sure you share the content via CueCam and not via OBS. If you want to kind of like do Keynote and PowerPoint presentations, then try and build them inside CueCam if you can, and then use the right program feed in your teleprompter. So if you do have a teleprompter, we're sort of getting a bit off topic with the OBS stuff. I think this OBS section is a bit more general rather than just Mac. If you've only got the Mac, if you do have the teleprompter, you can actually select OBS's window, like streaming window or whatever, in the teleprompter, so you can see. Actually, something I want to do is make it so you can just select the virtual camera from like eCam or OBS or whatever, so you can actually just bring that through to the teleprompter. Because at the moment I'm doing window capture, but like, why not just do the virtual camera, because that's what I'm doing for the CueCam preview anyway. You can switch OBS scenes from CueCam cards. So this is another thing. So if you have multiple scenes, I always have to check chat. Yeah, are you able to bring logos onto your screen as artwork? So Cyprian asks, so CueCam has an overlay feature for just doing branding. So that's how we get, like, if I just go output, I'll just show that. So this is how I get this. And so it's going to stick something in the top right. And if you want something that is in the bottom left, then you just make a 1080p image and put it in the bottom left to make it transparent. So you can sort of put an overlay onto CueCam that you just put a transparent image. You can sort of do anything you want with it just as that overlay. And you can also have, like, this is a background image, this gradient. So you could have a background and a foreground to, if you wanted to do some basic branding inside CueCam. But then with OBS, you can obviously like add whatever you want in on top of the CueCam stuff. And really the limitation is, like, do you want to be able to draw on it? In which case you probably want to sort of like think about that. So yeah, this is to show you now, like, how to actually, so from CueCam, because we're running through a script, we can actually trigger different scenes in OBS from CueCam. So if you did want to sort of have your intro and then your next section and then your next section, and set, maybe you do want just a sort of holding screen in OBS that you've specially designed and you've got a special timer and you're using stream elements and, you know, all that, whatever, you could actually just like create a different scene and you can make your CueCam script trigger that scene. So this is how you do that. So the first thing is you need to set up the WebSockets server inside OBS. And just sort of note a couple of numbers. So what have we got? We've got, oh no, this is so blurry. This is my document syncing process is a bit weird. It's got like a button to enable the WebSocket server port. Just write that down and sort of whatever the password is, make sure you know that. And then in CueCam settings, so you're going to go up to CueCam, you're going to go settings, and then you're going to just put that information in OBS port, OBS password, and that is now going to allow you to control OBS. So here I've got two scenes. So just make sure that your scenes are named correctly, because OBS scenes are just always selected by name, and that's just how it works. So if you change the name of it, it's not going to get found. So just make sure you don't like use a temporary name and then rename it, because it's going to sort of break your CueCam scripts. But it's always good to name things well, and OBS suddenly puts up a lot of boxes asking you to put names in for things. Unfortunately, usually it's before you know if it's actually going to work, so you're sort of just trying it out, and then you end up with one with a bad name because you were just trying to get anything to work. But that's OBS. So then on a card, you can just click the add button, OBS scene, and then in that drop down, you're going to see all of your OBS scenes right there. So just click on that, and now you've got that scene on the card. Now it sort of gives you a drop down menu if you want to quickly change that on the card as well. And when you present this card, it's going to jump to that scene in OBS. The next subject is, so you can also draw on an OBS scene that doesn't use CueCam as the main source. And just think about that. Usually you're sending in CueCam's virtual camera and it's just giving you the drawing. It's doing all the video pencil stuff for you. But if you're not using CueCam's virtual, if you're using a game or something, and I'll show you some examples with a game, then you might want to... Yeah, I'll show you how to do this. So CueCam actually exposes a siphon feed of the transparent layer from Video Pencil. So whenever we're drawing stuff, like we can actually like bring that in separately into OBS. And I'll show you how to do that now. So here is, you can go add and you can go siphon client in OBS. You can please, name it Video Pencil and then select as the source Video Pencil via CueCam. And click allow transparency to make sure that that's transparent. And now, and then in order to see that, to see what you're drawing on your iPad, because obviously if you're just using CueCam, then it automatically handles that for you, but you do want to be able to see on your iPad screen what you're doing, like I can, when you're drawing, so you know where you're drawing. But what you can do to do that is to, first you activate OBS's virtual camera. And then in CueCam, you are going to select that virtual camera as your main camera, which I apparently don't have a picture of, but it will show up as an option. And then on your iPad, so this is what the iPad looks like running Video Pencil, you can see, you know, your game output, and you can draw on it and use, you know, live titles and just to add text in real time, and you can use all of that fun stuff on whatever OBS is sending out. So yeah, that's OBS. That's a quick whirlwind tour of using OBS. So OBS is free, open source. Like if you just want to sort of do live streaming, you can pretty much get there just with CueCam, and you can do an awful lot with CueCam and OBS. And this is a nice way of not, I mean, you've sort of got to learn CueCam, but I hope that's a bit less painful than learning OBS, which is a pretty obtuse piece of software. But yeah, this is where we are. That's the end of my session for today. I see that Cyprian says lots of inspiration. Thank you. And I see Sam's Gaming being possibly trolly. If you've got any questions, comments, jump in. And I am just realizing that in all of my debugging and troubleshooting of address spaces and buffers and previews, I did not create a playout song. So what I will say is, here is where I'll wait for some questions. Maybe while I'm waiting for questions, I can quickly look for something on my computer. Maybe I'll look at the YouTube actually. Maybe I'll share a YouTube window today. Yeah, if you want to find me, if you want to get help when I'm asleep, go to the Discord. If you want to email me, then I reply to everything. I'm getting some good. I see some nice. So Verna says, "Love the part with your dad. Bring him on." I probably will. I have talked to him about it, but I want to get him on a CueCam first so that he can do a nice slick presentation and be in the screen. But hopefully that doesn't involve him having to buy like a new iPad and a new iPhone and a new this and that. I don't think so. Or maybe I've got an old one I can send him. But yeah, I probably will bring him on at some point to talk about fossils. And maybe we'll show a clip of his little film. That could be fun, couldn't it? So let's. I'm loading I'm going to my clips folder, as I always do in desperation when I forgot. I always forget I've got to do the play out music. I need to add it to my thing. It's not in my thing. That's the problem. What's this? So I'm just having a look. Wait, why don't I share my desktop so you can see what's going on? So I'm just seeing what's on here, seeing if anything sounds good. What's this? And you won't hear it yet. Okay, all right. I'm going to give you a little bit of a clip from a live stream. And just embed without converting, I think. And yeah, this is when I was live streaming on Twitch a lot more, playing a lot of music. This was kind of what that looked like. I'm using this app called Endless with 3 S's, but unfortunately Tim Exile, Tim Shaw, the guy behind it, got sick, and it's sort of like fallen. It's sort of, the company's kind of fallen apart a bit. Like, so, but yeah, I think they sort of had to shut it down. So that's a bit of a disaster, because it was kind of cool, because what I'm doing on this clip is I'm playing stuff with some loops and all my gear, but then someone else somewhere else in the world is adding loops as well, so they're sort of adding music into the thing that I'm playing. So it was kind of cool, but like, yeah, like that technology is now sort of in it's sort of, yeah, we're gonna have to find another way to do it. Cyprian says, did you? Yeah, of course I did. I'm all about live performance, and this is where like CueCam comes from. This is why I'm sort of editless video, and it's like get the machine to help me express something, and like just take all that like production thinking off my hands and off my brain and just let me focus on the talking and the saying and the playing the music. So yeah, like it's all a very much a live thing. So here's to play me out. Thanks everyone so much for watching. We've got to give the baby a bath now. He's smelly. Here is a small clip from my Twitch stream, and you can see what an OBS stream looks like with loads of stuff going on in it, which obviously this is way beyond the scope of CueCam. So you can sort of see what's going on there, and see that's actually, I think it's using another app that I made, so that you can look at as well. But yeah, this is just a little bit of improvisation, and thank you so much for coming by, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.